Hi guys, welcome back to another installment of Professor Charles S. Live. And today, guys, we're going to talk about the final episode of Season 1 of Stargirl, Star and Stripe, Episode 13, Part 2. Yes, let's talk about this episode. By the way, guys, look, I'm back. It's Thursday through Sunday. Let me just let you guys know, if you don't know, you're new to the channel. So let's start this episode off. One thing I really loved about this episode was the matchups. Yes, Stargirl has some epic matchups. We had Gambler versus the new Dr. Midnight. I thought that was a dope concept. Hacker versus the nerdy black girl or the blurred black girl. I thought that was neat. Beth versus him. I love how Beth outwitted him with the help of her goggles. He's like, well, since we can't hack the firewalls to get to stop the mind control thing, I love that Beth did that. But let's start off with this episode. We see the Fiddler's son. It starts off this episode and we see the high school football field become where all the satellite where it was controlling all the adults. That was very interesting. But also, what I liked about this episode that was really worked out, like I said, it was definitely the matchups. The most interesting matchup I saw in this episode was between Wildcat and Brainwave. I thought that was different. But also we see, finally, man, I like all this season, I was literally wondering, like, when were we going to get freaking Solomon Grundy, right? So Solomon Grundy comes, the final episode, and I was happy to see that, man. As much as our man kept getting on my nerves a little bit this season, like, bruh, chill, bruh. Your time is coming. You're going to get your revenge on Solomon Grundy. And like I said, this episode was really well thought of, well-rounded. We see the heroes, the new Justice Society versus the Injustice Society. And like I said, the matchups were very well put together. Like for this show, I was like, I really put some thought into this. Solomon Grundy versus Pat. No, Solomon Grundy versus Pat. Solomon Grundy versus, our man versus Solomon Grundy. Pat versus Solomon Grundy. Interesting matchups. One thing I can say about Pat held it down. For a sidekick, I was like, dang, Pat, you sidekick status for the heroes. But bro, you was holding your own against Solomon Grundy. I gotta give Pat respect, yo. Like, he is GOAT status for this. Cause I'm like, bro, you inside a robot. You ain't got no superpowers, bro. But you held it down. Then after that, we saw our man literally come in to aid Pat. And one thing I liked about the Solomon Grundy versus our man battle, or our man versus Solomon Grundy, I like that we see our man have some empathy for Solomon Grundy. Despite his parents being killed by Solomon Grundy, we saw that, you know what, I finally got my revenge. And we also saw him having conflict with Yolanda, also known as Wildcat, because he was like, well, where's my parents at when God was here, you know? And you can see that Yolanda is a Christian. Our man, we don't quite know what he is yet. You know what I'm saying? So I can't just be like, yeah, he's this particular type of character. This is ideology. I don't necessarily know that just yet. Maybe he's an atheist. Maybe he's not an atheist. Maybe he's someone that is, what do you call it? Not an atheist. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But you could tell that he's not like Yolanda. Yolanda goes to church. Most of the time, her character, you see, she prays for people. Even when Henry died, she went to go pray for him. So there was some conflict, a difference between the two members. Despite them being a team, there are going to be differences. You saw that with them. Also, we see Jordan. Oh my God, Jordan is a trip this episode. We see Jordan do some shady stuff, man. First off, literally, boy, he was obsessed with Barbara. I mean, I guess Brainwave was right. After all, like, Barbara was just like his golden trophy. And we see him literally go to where Beth was at and Barbara. And, you know, Barbara was still under the control of the device. And we see Beth hold her own against pretty much, like I said, Icicle Sr., also known as Jordan. And we see Bev try her best, and Bev doesn't have any powers, but I gotta say, at least she tried to save Stargirl's mother. Also in this episode, we saw a matchup with the Shiny Knight versus Dragon, also known as Dragon King or Dr. Ito. That was interesting. I liked the battle between them because I had a feeling that Shiny Knight's arch nemesis is definitely Dragon. I mean, remember when they showed the other episode where he was trying to gain his memory back? I was like, it sounds like this is his arch nemesis. And shockingly, I thought he was going to kill him. I thought for sure, I said, well, it looks like Shiny Knight's going to kill his arch nemesis. Nope. Cynthia, also known as Sydney, also known as Shiv, came out of nowhere and killed her own father. Now, can we understand why she killed him? A little bit. I mean, come on. Like, she didn't have the best relationship with her father. Let's just be honest. From the show, we see her father not really listening to her. He locked her in a dungeon. So it's like, okay, she's been locked up for a while. She's mad because she can't become an Justice Society member. These are some pretty good motives. Not saying they're the right motives, but you can understand her frustration with her father, and she kills him. I'm surprised she didn't try to take on Shiny Knight. I guess she said she ain't want none of that. You know what I'm saying? But we see her fight Stargirl. Also, I like the battle between Stargirl and Jordan. Very interesting when they first fought. Because I was saying to myself, I'm like, come on, man. Don't give me no half-pig battle. You know what I'm saying? But then, when I started to see the battle, I said, okay, Stargirl holding her own against Jordan, also known as Icicle Sr. And I thought that was really neat in this episode, because we see them fight each other. She's, been able to shine the ice off his powers and stuff. Jordan's powers are basically ice. And I was like, okay. And she's holding her own against him. But also, like I said, Wildcat versus Brainwave, it was an interesting battle because Brainwave was pretty deceptive, man. I was like, dang, bro, you disguised yourself as her son? As her son? I'm like, that's a little creepy. But she finally defeated Brainwave. And I think with Yolanda, her character being the religious character in the show, we see her have a moment where, Stargirl say, hey, what happened? She's like, I killed Brainwave. I'm like, uh-oh. And I said that to myself because Yolanda didn't seem happy with it. You know what I'm saying? But she had no choice because, let's be honest, Brainwave didn't just have his powers. He had his son's powers. So, like, if she would have let him live, it would have been bad. Across the map, it probably would have been bad. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. And I love how Brainwave was a little rebellious this episode. He like, I'll be back. I'm about to go take care of some business. He tell Dragon, and I'm like, dang, bruh, you just said screw controlling everybody. I'm just gonna do my own thing, and you still got killed. But I got this weird feeling, yo, like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think Henry's still alive. There have been, you know what I'm saying? I think that Henry's still alive somehow, man, and we won't know that until season 2. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the father, I'm talking about the son. Yes. Also in this episode, we see Solomon Grundy. Now, here's the thing about Solomon Grundy. I was a little worried, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because look, everything CGI is not terrific. But I love how they had Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy lit the fears. Solomon Grundy's like the Frankenstein of villains. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the brains, but he's a brute with force. I tell you that. And I love how Our Man fought him, man. The battle was interesting between him and Our Man. I thought that was interesting. I said, Our Man and Solomon Grundy? And they was throwing down, boy. Even the battle with him and Pat was really good. And you could see there was a moment where Our Man no longer wanted to kill Solomon Grundy. Like, he had this epiphany or just this moment of, like, empathy for him. He like, look, I'm about to run out of juice anyway with my powers. I can't really take that chance because he might kill me then. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you know what, Rick? Okay, old man. I'm like, bruh, you know what? You really thought this through because you realize, like, even if I do kill him, there's a chance he might kill me because I'm about to run out of juice. I really like that part of it. Also, with Gambler and Beth, man, that was an interesting battle. You see the Gambler kind of lose his cool. I thought that was cool because he could have had the firewall. So Beth said, "We're gonna hack them bank accounts." And you can see the Gambler was frustrated. Like, "Not my bank accounts! How do you get in my bank accounts?" And you can tell he was very like emotional about it, hurt. Like, bruh, chill out. And I love that Beth found ways to get people to get out of mind control. Luckily, Stargirl was able to get Pat out of his. Her mother, it was a different story, but they were able to get out of it. Also, we seen what happened, the bad results, if they kept like getting controlled by it. It could kill people off. That was the other thing that we saw. And like I said, this was very interesting. Also, when Jordan kidnapped Barbara, also known as Icicle Sr., we see a scene where, he's like, look, there's a world where there'll be no cancer, and Jordan's just so confident about it. Like, you feel bad for Jordan because he lost his wife and she had cancer, you know what I'm saying? And the thing was, he said, look, I did this. I did that. Look at this city. I did all this. You can see he had this moment where he's just like, you know what I'm saying, just showing Barbara, like, look what I did to this city. I made this a better place to live, meaning Blue Valley. And you can see there's a moment where, Barbara hugs him frighteningly. You know what I'm saying? You can understand that Barbara, she reasons with him, but she doesn't agree with what he's doing. And you can see that, he needed someone to like hug him, hold him. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty broken if you ask me. Jordan is a broken villain, you know what I'm saying? Even though he had some of the right intentions of being a villain, but not necessarily, his vision kind of became distorted, you know what I'm saying? All he wanted was revenge. It was like, he killed all the people at the chemical companies that he had encountered. He even killed off Joey, one of Stargirl's friends, and Henry, her cousin. It's like, bruh, you are pretty destructive, man, whatever you do. And we see, I love the confrontation between him and Pat. He said, oh yeah, you ain't got no powers. Oh, I brought Stargirl with me. Hey, bro, what you thought he was gonna come and fight you bare fist? Man, he was gonna kill him. You know what I'm saying? And we see that, and I love when Stargirl falls off the roof and Yolanda comes to save her. Because remember, Yolanda had a fear as a Wildcat, afraid of heights. So you see, and she's like, you did that? She's like, yeah. And you can see Yolanda faced her fear of heights. I thought that was really neat. But the best thing about this episode, Mike. Mike came to save the day, boy. Icicle was down on the ground. Stargirl was out on the ground when they fought. And we saw Mike. Mike to the rescue, him and the dog. Mike's in this pickup truck. And instantly kills like Icicle Sr. I'm like, bruh, you ghost status, bruh. You came out of nowhere with the unknown assist out of nowhere. I'm like, yo. But also in this episode, they introduced another character that was very interesting that we're gonna see soon. Yes, season 2. So Shade, we saw a brief appearance of Shade. And how do I know it's Shade? Because Shade is a magic person too. And you can see all this shadow or this darkness, like a shroud of it. And you see Shade look at the picture of the Injustice Society. And you could tell there was some conflict between him and Jordan. I told people that was the problem. That's why Shade didn't return. And it seems like Shade wasn't really for the plan of controlling people to their, to have like no racism, no, religion and all that stuff. The Injustice Society little, I guess you could say, agenda. And we could see that there was conflict amongst the two. And I was like, oh, And also, with him returning, what is that going to entail? Like, are the other Injustice Society going to fall suit to him? Probably not. But also the funny, also funny moment, where it's not with just Mike, Our Man. I love when Our Man screamed, and I was like, "Yo, bro, like you screaming at Solomon Grundy, bro, like you a G for that, bro." I'm sitting there like, no, I can't believe Iron Man screaming, ah! And Solomon Grundy, I was like, bruh. I was like, you out here D-boy Solomon Grundy, bro? I'm like, yo. I thought it was the craziest thing. And you said, yeah, get out of here. And Solomon Grundy, you seen him running like, okay, I'm getting out of here because he might kill me. But also in this episode, we see Shade will probably be the new leader. But also we see them celebrating Christmas again, like 4 months after this situation. And I think that was really neat that we saw that. But also Sydney. What did Sydney find? Sydney was like in this abandoned like building. I don't know exactly. Maybe it might have been the Injustice Society's headquarters, or maybe it's some other place. And she picks up this jewel. And I'm assuming that maybe this might be a jewel connected to her mother's suit. Because remember, we saw her mother's suit in one of the episodes of Stargirl. So I'm like, is her mother trapped in that jewel? Or did something really happen to her? Who knows? Whatever's in that jewel, Sydney was happy to see it. I looked like, uh-oh. And I literally said to myself, I'm like, ain't looking good. But also, in the last part of this episode, we see Starman. He's asking for where Pat is at, because, he's in California. And the guy tells him, like, Pat no longer lives here. And you can see he's Starman. But I don't know if something happened to him or not. It looks pretty interesting. So the other guy, I think he was like an imposter, pretty much. And somehow I'm her dad. I'm like, okay, bro, you either an imposter or you a shapeshifter or something. But guys, this was also the other thing that I liked about this episode. Shiny Knight saying his goodbyes to Pat and the New Justice Society. I thought that was the cutest thing ever. Where you see him tell the guys, like, noble ones, you fought a good battle. And we can see that him and Pat talk, also known as Justin. Shiny Knight is also known as Justin. And we see them kind of say their farewells. Shiny Knight going to find his noble, his actual horse. And also the other the seven heroes that, I can't think of the name of the team that they are all together. I think it's 7 heroes of victory or something like that. And, Pat assuring them, it's like, yeah, go find the others and, stuff like, at first I got to find my horse. I'm like, it makes sense. You can't not Justin. I'm like, as much as I thought Justin was going to be like this super weird character, I started to enjoy him. I was like, man, I hope we don't have to wait until later on in season 2 for him to return. I hope he returns like at the beginning of season 2. But I liked his character and the farewell that he sent to the heroes. I thought that was really neat in this episode. But also, there were some things that were a little unsolved. What happened to the Fiddler's mother? Did the Injustice Society grab her up? You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, Icicle Senior's parents are still alive. And, they was collecting bodies. For real. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of an unsolved mystery. The other thing is poor Beth. Beth lost her goggles with the battle with her and Jordan. Jordan froze them and broke them. I was like, dang, Beth. And you could tell Beth was heartbroken. She lost her best friend in them goggles. That was her BFF. You already know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? That guy, it's like how Jarvis is to Iron Man. They complete each other in a sense of techiness. But I was just like, man, you could tell, and I love how Yolanda assured her that the goggles will be able to get Fist and Rick. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta say, man, this episode was really good. They put some time and thought into this, and for this show to have a decent budget, not a big budget for 13 episodes, I thought this show was great, man. Like I never. For it to be a DC show, I never got into like a newer DC show like Supergirl or Batwoman. And I'm not to compare these shows, but Stargirl kept my interest. I never lost my interest in the show. And like I said, this season finale was epic, man. The team ups were dope. Even, when what's that, Rick, also known as Iron Man, went against Sportsmaster, he didn't fare well against them. And Tigress too against Yolanda. That was dope. I think this episode was really good, man. Like I was like, dang, man, I was impressed because sometimes you'll watch a show and you look for the final episode, and sometimes the final episode you just like, what? I watched this and y'all, this is what y'all give me. But I really liked the last episode. It rounded up everything. We learned who the next big baddie is, and it's gonna be Shade. Also, like I said, we saw that Cynthia, also known as Sydney, finding some random jewel. I don't know what the jewel is, but whatever the jewel is and whatever was in it is not a good thing. But like I said, I love that Pat and Stargirl, they spent time together during Christmas. I love the stepdaughter and stepfather, bonding time. I thought that was really neat. And like I said, you can see that, like I said, they derailed the Injustice Society's goal. And like I said, man, I thought this episode was really good, man. I really was like, you know what? DC, I'm glad they had a different executive producer for the show. And like I said, a producer too, because I think this show is going to be around for a very long time. And I am looking forward to season 2. But guys, have you seen the latest episode of Stargirl? You tell me in the comments, guys. Your boy Professor Charles is live. You guys have a wonderful day. This is my video for the day, guys. Take care.